every year that I try to say the Astros are in some sort of rebuild or reboot or whatever the heck you want to call it, here they are battling, jockeying for position again atop the AL West. What has been your biggest takeaway of what this team has accomplished this year with a lot of missing pieces, a lot of injuries, and just a lot of unknown? Welcome to the show.
Good to be on the show. Always appreciate the opportunity, seeing some friendly faces, and I'm glad I got the memo about the backwards hat, so I'm ready to go. The old saying, or I guess it's a new old saying, is the Astros are inevitable. And this year is truly a tale of organizational depth and maybe a little bit of culture involved because, like you said, a lot of teams around the league have dealt with a lot of injuries, and not just injuries that are going to keep guys out on a 15-day IL, and they'll be back and mix right in. These have been catastrophic injuries that these teams have had to try and fix and replace and continue, and the Astros have done a very good job. I know that every year we start out the season with prospect lists and who has the best minor league system, and the Astros are continually at the bottom. Yet this season, they have filled their rotation with a couple of rookies, throughout the course of the season. They're going to ride a guy tonight in Jason Alexander here in Houston for another start who's been brilliant for the Astros with his fastball changeup mix. The other day, we just saw a guy named Zach Cole, who was number 18 in the organization as far as prospects, and he pops a home run on the first pitch he sees. So I think it's just a credit to the ability to draft, but also the ability to develop. I don't think a lot of these minor league coaches these days get enough attention or enough love because they're kind of, tucked underneath the rug of every organization, but they have a huge impact on what these guys do at the big league level. And the Astros fortunately have created this dynamic where if you get to the big leagues, the expectation is you're going to mix into this clubhouse. And if you're helping us win, you're going to stick. If you're not stirring the pot the right way, we're going to get rid of you and find somebody else. But they've been very fortunate with some of the guys they've called up.
All right. Well, who's going to step in for the holes that they're currently missing? Because now it's nut cutting time. I get it. Like, you can't win because you won the last 7. Like, this last 7 years doesn't have anything to do with this last 2 weeks of the season. Do they have enough to step in for the Josh Hader hole? To step in for the fact that they don't have an Alex Bregman who has been that winning clutch player? I know Correa's back, but do they have enough to win the division, or do they not even need to win the division? Because we're not going to talk about the wild card yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question. Basically, do they have enough to get in the playoffs? And I think they do. And you brought up some key names there. I know losing Bregman is a big piece, and obviously he's enhanced what the Boston Red Sox have been able to do both internally and on the field. He's a great mind, sees the game a little bit differently. And then you mentioned Carlos Correa. He's kind of come in and really kind of filled that void of what the Astros were missing as far as leadership in the vocal sense. He will pull guys off the side and say, hey, we need more of this, or hey, you did a great job. Continue to do that. They've got Yordan Alvarez, who's kind of the silent, spoken guy that can go into that lineup and do some damage. You can follow his lead a little bit. Jeremy Pena's turned into a force on offense. So they've got some key pieces and key situations to be able to go out there and compete. For me, down the stretch, it's going to be the Astros offense. I think they do have enough pitching. The starting pitching has done a great job. They're top 10 as far as team ERA. They get a ton of swing and miss still, even with Josh Hader not in the back end of that bullpen. So for me, it's going to be on the offense. Their record is something astonishing, around 85% win, probability when they score 4 runs. So that's kind of the threshold I feel they need to get to. But I'm with you in the sense that when Josh Hader went down, not just with a shoulder injury, but with something that was going to keep him out the entire regular season, I had a little trepidation in the thought that he wasn't going to be at the back end of that bullpen because Brian Abreu has been such a phenomenal setup guy, and Brian King, Steven Okert were great matchup guys getting to the back end of the bullpen. Now you're forcing some of these guys who aren't usually leverage guys into situations where you're going to almost force Josh Miller and Joe Espada to be very creative on what pockets they work those guys into.
Blummer, I know you're talking offense, but who's pitching? Alexander's pitching tonight, and then who? It's TBD. So you're talking about all this great pitching. Who's pitching? Because the Rangers lined up their 3 best, really, with Eovaldi out. I mean, they're going lighter, Merrill Kelly and DeGrom for the last one. And then you got Seattle coming in. So who's pitching? You keep talking about offense, but who's going to pitch the next couple games?
Yeah, that's going to be a problem the next couple of days. It may be you can almost get the sense that the Astros fear the Seattle Mariners more than they fear the Texas Rangers. I know that the Rangers are leading the series, I believe, 6-4, but the run differential, I think, is at a flatline 0. They've scored as many as they've given up. Adolis Garcia's coming back. We still haven't seen Simeon and Seager, and credit to the Rangers for finding guys like Hellman and Freeman and some of these other guys. Josh Smith doing a good job stepping in and scoring runs. They're getting timely hitting at the right time, but who's going to stop them? Jason Alexander hasn't faced him yet. He's been very good after losses for the Astros, amazingly enough. And he's pretty predictable as far as he's going to come at you with a two-seam fastball and a changeup. He's not afraid to throw it to righties or lefties, so it's going to be up to the Rangers to adjust to that quickly. But like you said, once you get past that, is it going to be a bullpen day on that last day? Is it going to be a guy like A.J. Blubaugh, who's looked brilliant in the last maybe 4 or 5 outings coming out of the bullpen? He's gone 1 inning, he's gone 2 innings, he's gone 4 innings at a time. He's a guy that's kind of been lengthened out a little bit, or do they piggyback? And it's kind of a tough spot when you're going down the stretch trying to, get back into the American League West division lead. But they really saved up their big dogs in Hunter Brown and Framber Valdez for the Seattle Mariners. You're right.
Blummer, I mean, I know it sounds a little bit obvious, but if the Astros sweep the series, they go up 5 games. If the Astros get swept, they fall behind the Rangers by 1 game. I mean, is this let's circle this thing? I mean, what are the conversations going on in the dugout, in the clubhouse? I know everyone says 1 game at a time, blah, blah, blah. This is not 1 game at a time, my friend. This is big.
It's huge, and it's kind of crazy to think that everything comes down to this homestand for the Astros, where they played very well. The Seattle Mariners pitching rotation has been roughed up on the road. You kind of hope these trends kind of continue themselves, but I'm with you in the sense that you kind of throw everything out the window because they're 5-5 against the Mariners throughout the course of the season. So this goes big in a head-to-head matchup. If they're both the 3 and 6 seeds, who's going to host that wild card division series potentially? And then you have the Texas Rangers, who are just trying to fight their way into this postseason, and this is a huge series for them. They lead the Astros 6-4 overall coming into this series, but it's still amazing to me that we can play a 162 game schedule, and we're set to play game 151 to 157, and it's all basically going to come down to these next 6 games for all 3 of these teams to see who wins the West and who potentially becomes that wild card, because the Astros are that 3rd wild card, and I think the reality is kind of set in a little bit. It will be interesting to get to the ballpark today and see the reaction of these guys and see the intensity of the pregame workout as they get ready for this series against the Rangers. But yeah, they can sit there and say, and there's 3 of us that have been on this broadcast that have been in that dugout in playoff contending type situations where you say all the right things to the public, but internally, you can feel that hair on the back of your neck kind of jump a little bit, or you can feel that twitchiness a little bit. But I'm sure that's going on in the Astros dugout because everything is very real for the next 6 games.
By the way, I got to go back. How important is it for the Astros to have home field? Because all I've heard for about the last 5 years is we can't hit in Houston. The batter's eye sucks and this and that. So now all of a sudden you love Houston? Like, wait, I thought all the Astros guys hated playing there. Now they love it. Wait, clear it up for me, please, Blummer.
I wish I could.
They fixed the batter's eye, though. They painted like that little section, right? So now it's better.
Yeah, they keep creeping over. Eventually, that entire section is going to be green, but they keep pushing that Budweiser sign out of the way. Yeah, they keep expanding that, trying to compete with. There are issues with the batter's eye. The lights are a little bit lower in Dyken Park. The sound is incredibly loud, which favors them. I think they enjoy the fan base that shows out for them year after year after year. So there is some pleasure in playing at home, knowing that you've got the fan base behind you. But there are certain things that you've got to overcome when you come into Dyken Park. I know a lot of guys adjust by going out early, taking batting practice. But at the same time, the Astros have been very good on the road, too, considering how some of the other teams have played. The Astros are actually a game or 2, I believe, over 500 on the road. But in theory, playing at home is always better, but I'm not sure that, that carries a lot of weight, because I think, and this is literally just off the top of my head, because since the All-Star break, I think at home the Astros have been sub 500, and I think they've been outscored at home. So I'm not sure that that's a paramount idea, but at the same time, if you finish a season playing 6 games, 7 days on the road, and then you've got to travel to Seattle, play on the road, try and win that series, and then eventually end up on the road again. It kind of piles up a little bit. But I think these two teams are probably just trying to find their way into the playoffs and worry about the home field advantage later.
Kratz, I'm going to steal a line right from the top here about MeUndies. A cut for every butt. I took a line that I feel like you would enjoy, but then you stole my thunder with show and tell. What do you have there?
Besides a huge Baduka dunk, this is my pair of MeUndies that I got. I'm not going to show you the other pair right now because I got them on, but it doesn't even feel like you have them on. Super soft, flexible, and yet holding everything together.
I love the 20 different styles, 100 different colors and prints, and the micro-modal fabric is what you're talking about. Breathable, stretchy, unbelievably cozy. And right now, as a listener of FT, you can get cozy and spooky for less with deals up to 50% off at MeUndies.com/foul and enter promo code FOUL. That's MeUndies.com/foul, promo code FOUL for up to 50% off. MeUndies, comfort that's made for fall.
What do you believe in the hypothetical that Isaac Paredes does return? Because if he's hitting and saying there's a chance he could play, he could DH at the end of this week, Saturday, Sunday-ish, he's got to DH at a slower level. Then you got to put Jordan in left and put Altuve back at second, which they've been trying to not do.
No, that's one of the craziest things, because when Isak went on the injured list, everybody kind of dropped their shoulders a little bit and said, man, believe it or not, they felt like they lost one of their best hitters in the lineup. And there were plenty of games where Isaac Paredes was in the lineup. A pitcher was getting knocked out of the game in the fourth or fifth inning with 100 pitches. And you look at the line, and Isak had seen literally a third of the pitches for the team. And that's what he kind of brings to this ball club, is that patience, the zone control, everything that, these modern day hitting coaches like to hear. He could pop a couple into left field through the Crawford box. I think he's perfected that 98 mile an hour swing with the perfect launch angle to get it 370 feet into the Crawford boxes. But his ability to lengthen out at bats protects guys like Altuve, who can go out there and swing at the first pitch and you don't panic because Isak just saw 9 pitches. It allows Jeremy Pena to lead off a game and swing at the first fastball he sees because he wants to be aggressive on the heater early, because behind him you're going to see Isak seeing 9 pitches. So it kind of lengthens out the lineup in that sense. So he's a nice addition to the lineup, but you're exactly right about what it does defensively for Joe Espada is it forces his hand to put Yordan Alvarez out in left field at home, preferably with Hunter Brown or Framber Valdez on the mound, because those are heavy ground ball type pitchers. But then you have to put Jose Altuve at second base, and you've got to run the risk of, him being out there with a heavy ground ball percentage guy on the mound. So you're going to have to manipulate that lineup a little bit. I know that once he gets here to Dyken Park, talking to Tony Perez-Chica, who's a third base coach and infield guy, he is going to be working him out at third base. He's going to be working him out at second base. And believe it or not, he's going to be working him out at first base in certain situations. So they're trying to create the versatility. But I'm with you. I mean, that was a pretty heavy strain on the hamstring, and it's a lot to ask him to go play defense.
He's like the Max Muncy of the Astros. Max comes back, exactly. They start hitting. You get that's a big piece. All right, last question for me. And I'm only giving you 2 options, so you can't pick the third. Better chance of the Astros missing the playoffs or winning the division?
Oh, man, you had to go top to bottom, didn't you? I'm saying that they can win it. Just this American League West for me, having watched it all season long, it's not that good. I don't think it's the best division in baseball. I don't think it's the best division in the American League. I still think it's up there for the taking. I'm a little concerned about the Seattle Mariners pitching on the road. Their numbers haven't been very good, especially in that last road trip where the Astros kind of tried to create a little separation. But I think that there's more likely a chance the Astros actually pull it off and sneak in as the division winner.
I'd be shocked if the Houston Astros missed the postseason. I mean, that just doesn't happen. Let me ask you this.
That would cause heart palpitations, to be honest with you. I'm with you. That would,
honestly, that would be
a paycheck. I'm getting a paycheck from them, and I've got to cheer for them. But yeah, it would cause some serious palpitations. If they
I agree with you. That would just send shockwaves throughout the baseball landscape. Let me ask you one quick question again, Blummer, about Josh Hader. When he's not on your team, he's the guy that seems like he's easy to hate, but I don't think we give him enough love with what he does in the community. The Roberto Clemente Award nominee. I don't know that there's an award in baseball that is more of an honor to get than the Roberto Clemente Award. He is the Houston Astros nominee. Tell me what he does in the community, what he means to this club.
I think it's great that these guys actually get recognized, especially around the league, because we follow our team specifically and we have an idea of what's going on. But for them to get recognized nationally through Major League Baseball with this great award in honor of Roberto Clemente and all of the charity and efforts that he put into it, I think it's great that these guys get the notoriety. And Josh Hader, I didn't find out what he was doing in San Diego and some of the other teams he was with until he became an Astro and started doing it in the community here with the Astros. He's got a great firm foundation on with his feet on the ground in the community. And I think as soon as he signed that contract, he started a foundation here, and he has been working with, I believe it's Covenant House, doing a great job helping out families and underprivileged kids, and some of the abuse that goes on in some of these families, and he's protecting these kids, he's protecting these families. He has done phenomenal work, and throughout the course of the season, when he was playing, he was having galas, wine dinners. He was recruiting people and funding and doing a lot of things behind the scenes. And now, since he's been on the injured list, he hasn't hesitated a bit. He's actually probably continued to work a little bit harder behind the scenes. But he's a phenomenal dude. If you get a chance to know Josh Hader, get a chance to know him, because he is salt of the earth and he's got an electric left arm.
Blummer, before you go, there's two things I got to say. One, the Astros will make the playoffs because Fox has the American League, and there would not be a playoffs without me doing the Astros in the DS. So I will be in Houston one way or the other. They'll be in the ALDS. It's just how it works. It's like it's inevitable. It's like one of those things that just happened. Even the one year during COVID, the Braves and the Marlins played in Houston. I'm like, we have the National League. I'm still going to Houston. So I'll be in Houston. Don't worry. They'll be there. Maybe you'll come say hi. Probably not, because you never come around when the Astros are in town. I get it. It's your time off. But before I let you go, I got to know this. I know you have the H-Town shirt and you're paid by the Astros, but is there even like a little bit of love for the White Sox in your heart? I mean, it is the one team you did win with, and you did hit a big home run against the Astros in Minute Maid. The one swing you got was that one home run.
Dude, you know as well as I do that I have a certain loyalty, and granted, it may have a little bit to do with the paycheck. I spent a majority of my career with the Houston Astros. And what a lot of Astro fans don't know is that home run with the White Sox was payback for trading me to Tampa Bay and making me put up the Lou Piniella for a full season. So that being said, yes, I cheer for the Astros, and I'm glad they're on this run that they're on, but there will never, ever, there will be nothing that is able to pull that chunk of my White Sox heart out of me because of the time that we spent together and the time that we actually put that team together, which was a special time. Winning that World Series will never leave me. I mean, if we were able to zoom in on some of this stuff behind me, I forced White Sox paraphernalia into this. My daughters still have their jerseys. So there is a very special place in my heart. It's just unfortunate that I can't let it out as often as maybe as I want to. But
That's fair.
There's two questions I get when having worked for the Astros now, having done that to them in that 05 World Series, is like, how did you endear yourself to the fans? And I say it's a lot of work, and obviously the Astros winning changes things. The other one is, what kind of guy is AJ like?
That's fine. But do you remember? Do you have any memory of what you said after you hit the home run? Do you remember this? I've never really asked you this. Do you remember what you said to me? Because remember in Houston they always played the Bees, and you were a killer bee for a while. Do you remember what you said to me after you hit the home run? You probably don't, because you were so excited.
I was so excited, but I have a feeling it has something to do with the spread, because I was starving by the end of it.
No, you actually said, can they stop playing that buzzing sound now because a killer bee just stung them? Or it was something like that.
Oh,
and I was like, yes, because all they did between every at-bat, when Bagwell, Biggio, Blum came up, it was bzzz.
Yep.
I was like,
do you remember what you did to my locker the day we showed up? So we get in there for the workout, and I don't know how you found it, but they had these placards, like they had these big, they were not big posters, but they were almost poster size, and they had the Killer Bees World Series 05 and all this, and you plastered my locker with them.
You were a killer bee. We didn't know what side you were on until you took that swing. We didn't know which side you were on. We were debating. We had a long talk with Ozzy about whether you should have been on the roster. Kenny and Ozzy and I, we had a long talk. We're like,
reasons.
where's his loyalties at?
I think we found out.
Yes, we did. Thank you. Thank God I was on your side.